Well, hello YouTube, it's me, Fortmaster, and welcome to a slightly different video than what I usually put out. So, if you're just coming across this video now, hi, I'm Fortmaster, as I just said, and I do mostly, like, Let's Plays and reaction content. And for the last little while, a lot of that reaction content has been around Deltarune. Just, seeing people try to figure out, what's going to happen in this game when more of it actually gets released, because the drought of new content has been driving everybody more than a little insane. And over the course of me watching all of these theories, I've thought up my own, well, I hesitate to use the word theories, honestly, because like most of these have no proof behind them at all. They're just stuff I thought up as I was watching other people's theories. I'm making this video to put out there for posterity's sake, just to see, like, if anything comes up of them before chapters 3 and 4 come out, and also just to put all of my little headcanon theory things, whatever you want to call them, in one place so that I can point to them, in the future if I need to. So my first one is, obviously is the smallest. The majority of chapter 3 will take place in the green room section that Toby has, showed before. Now, my whole thinking of that is that, Toby himself has said that chapter 3 is going to be a lot more gimmicky than, other chapters, with chapter 3 seemingly heavily utilizing the TV theming. My whole idea is that, chapter 3 isn't going to be one big continuous long world like chapters 1 and 2 that you play through. No, what chapter 3 is going to be like, we're going to be essentially on like a sound stage, essentially, and we're going to be repeatedly going in and out of the green room, going on like different sets and shows, quote unquote, almost like the various Metaton sections of Undertale, where you're essentially on these shows and you're having to do different puzzles and like mini games and stuff like that, and fights, obviously. All themed around the various, shows. A great example of this I've seen somebody actually make that, like, depicts it almost perfectly the way I imagined it, was Deltarune Chapter 3, the Great Vigilante Encounter, made by Pootstablook. And in the beginning of the video, you have, like, Kris and Susie fighting against, like, this weird mannequin actor guy who dresses up as Kris. And before, things go on and Kris, ends up meeting the fake Chapter 3 boss that they made up called Pete and VB. But my whole idea was that Chapter 3 is going to be very much just like that, where you're going in and out of the green room constantly, just doing all these weird different challenges and stuff like that, and it's going to feel very different from the rest, hence, it being different in the words of Toby. My second theory is that starting in Chapter 3, we're going to get another route, another weird route. Now, I can't remember which video I initially thought of this in, but I originally thought of this in a video where somebody pointed out that the weird route kind of comes up when, you, the player, are not interacting with the world in the way it's designed to be. Now, the original version of this theory was that the weird route was going to be different in every chapter, where, in chapter 2, you freeze everybody. And my idea was that, hey, since Toriel is going to be most likely a party member in chapter 3, with her being a very overprotective mother figure, maybe it's going to come about where the weird route happens because with her being your mother, she literally takes Kris and runs away from every encounter, basically just not interacting with the chapter at all. And then somebody commented on a video saying that, oh, hey, Toriel in Undertale has fire magic. Fire magic is very destructive, so maybe as an alternative to that, instead of running away, she could fight everyone for you because, Mama Bear mode engaged or something like that. And that kind of evolved my theory into being that you're going to have 3 routes, essentially. You're going to have the normal route, where you play through the game normally, you make friends with everybody, you close the dark fountains, happy endings everywhere. Then you're going to have what, for this case, I'm calling the Snowgrave route, or more accurately, the Violent Weird route, where you essentially just do what you did in Chapter 2. when you have the section with, you know, the special temporary companion, you go very violent somehow, start breaking things, killing everybody, and that leads to one route, seemingly, you know, with various forms of destruction, if, you know, Birdley at the end of chapter 2's weird route is, you know, to be believed. And then you have what I'm calling the broken weird route, where, and this kind of goes off the whole idea that I had, where each chapter's weird route is broken in a different way. Where, again, with chapter 3's weird route, given that Toriel's there, you know, again, run away, don't interact with anything, don't fight anything, just don't do anything. And then from there, chapters 4, 5 will each have their own weird thing that you do that breaks the chapter in some way. Now, as an extension to that, my next theory is that certain chapters are only going to be playable if you do certain things. Now, to this day, if you go onto Deltarune's Steam page, it says that there's only going to be 5 chapters. And yet, you can go into the demo right now and the chapters go all the way to chapter 7. And on top of that, as pointed out in a Half-Bred Chaos video that I watched, there are intro animations going all the way up to chapter 10, including a chapter 0. So, going off the idea that there might be 3 routes, maybe the normal story only goes up to chapter 5 or 6. But then, the violent route and the broken route, each of them has like a different number of chapters that may go further or end sooner than the normal route, quote unquote. And depending on what you do in these other routes, which, you know, either talking with people or doing certain actions, may unlock a special chapter 0, which I'm actually hoping, if it actually exists, may result in us actually seeing what happened to Des and Noelle and Kris and Azrael all those years ago. Okay, now my fourth one isn't so much a theory as it is a hope. We, the player, the soul, will at some point be able to actually communicate with Kris. Now, I had this idea, and that at some point, maybe, you know, either forcibly or voluntarily, we again get separated from Kris, though this time for an extended amount of time during a chapter. And it's at this point that either through some Gaster shenanigans or something else, that we come into possession of the Goner body that we designed at the beginning of chapter 1. And using the Goner body, we have to get back to Kris either for their health or for ours, and we have to, like, gain back in, you know, control of them and merge again. But during that time, we may be able to actually talk to them as a person and maybe just communicate that, you know, we don't mean them no harm, you know, hopefully, or, you know, some other things, or at least try to get them onto our side temporarily. Now, granted, something like that probably sounds like it may be more endgame material, so I don't know when it might show up, but it would be really cool to see. And again, as a sort of extension to that theory, I have the theory that Kris is not a true human. This is more going off the fact that all of the Goner body pieces that we have the options to use at the beginning of the game all look exceedingly similar to Kris. Now, whether that's just because, oh, those are the templates that you need to use for the soul to work, and that's why we're on Kris, or that's just how humans look in this universe, I don't know. But the fact that they're so similar leads me to believe that that potentially Kris may be either like a failed experiment or a failed prototype that escaped the lab south of town, if that is in fact the lab, and that might be why we're in control of them. Because whoever did take us, like, out of being able to control the Goner body we designed and said our choices don't matter, we landed at Kris because they are a Goner that seemingly escaped, and Toriel and Asgore found and eventually adopted, and, you know, they grew up and they're their family, you know, all that wholesomeness. And then we came in because, oh, that's the next best thing, suck into Kris. Now, my last one is the newest theory that I've come up with, and it may be a bit crack-ficky. I came up with this while reacting to Jaru's video where they were analyzing the possibility of anybody of Deltarune being the Knight. And I had the thought of, what if Noelle is the Knight, but she doesn't know it? Or in other terms, what if Noelle has a split personality? Now, again, very crack-ficky, but I came up with this purely because seemingly Noelle, she's seemingly having a very, tough time of it in life at the moment. Her sister's been missing for God knows how long. Her father is seemingly dying at the hospital, and her mother is seemingly just completely absent in her life while, being just totally absorbed in her work. And given how what we've seen, both in, like, dialogue and also in the Snowgrave route, that Noelle seems to have a tendency to block out traumatic memories and just completely forget them. Who's to say that the stress hasn't gotten to her to the point that those blocked off memories haven't become, an actual separate personality? And for whatever reason, whether it's like through some connection with Gaster or something, that other personality is the Knight. Now, why this alternate Noelle is opening up portals to potentially, cause the end of the world? Do they even know that they're going to end the world? Who knows? Do they even know the prophecy that Rousey was talking about before? Probably not, given, that King and Queen didn't know about the apocalyptic ends of, the prophecy. So, I mean, again, very crack-ficky, but we're gonna have to see. But yeah, as of, March the 12th, at the day I'm recording this, just off the cuff sort of deal, those are all of the theories and hopes and whatever you want to call them I have for Deltarune chapters 3 and 4 and, onwards once those come up. Now, are they literally just fan fiction fodder? Yes. Will any of them come true? Probably not. But I wanted to get all of my personal theories in like a single place when, most likely all of them are proven false. We can all point and laugh and say, haha, look what he thought. But yeah. That is going to be it for now, so I don't know if I'm going to make a sequel to this if I think of any more theories, because at this point we have no idea how, soon chapters 3 and 4 are going to be coming out, because again, they're going to be coming out tomorrow, eventually. But yeah, that's definitely going to be it for now, so, yeah, if you want to see any of my other stuff, reaction or let's play, just go to my channel, go down the videos. I have many years of a backlog you can check out if you want to check that stuff out. But yeah, with all that being said, I hope you guys liked. If you did, leave a like, subscribe if you have not, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.